Why do we get so triggered sometimes? Why does one small comment or someone ignoring our advice suddenly feel so personal? The truth is, being triggered isn't a weakness. It's not a flaw either. What if being triggered is actually a signal you should pay attention to? If you're new here, welcome. I'm Sahar Palmer, intuitive life mentor, holistic therapist, and best-selling author. For the past 20 years, I've been guiding people to unbox, if you like, their true self and align using my unique BEMA methodology. And BEMA stands for Body, Emotions, Mind, and Accountability to Actions. Each week, I help you rewrite your story and reclaim your power. I've also been an independent podcaster for 20 years. This podcast has gone through many reincarnations since its birth, covering and demystifying different subjects, including interviews with leaders in their field. I hope that you'll have time to check out the curated playlists on Spotify. Anything from past lives to future selves to near-death experiences to women of wisdom, it's all there. And as usual, I will appreciate your feedback. The past week has been very busy. How was yours? It seemed to fly by. But beyond this podcast and my published books, I have recently started weekly reflections on Substack. I observed Substack for a while, and then now I ventured in. So I'm going to share insights, personal stories, a little bit more in depth, more casual, more from the heart. Well, it's always been from the heart, but Substack has a different kind of, it's a challenge for me. Anyway, if you're there, I will see you there. My point is, there's always more than one way to unbox. So I also launched a hub for practical digital tools and resources on my Buy Me a Coffee page, where you will find exclusive guided meditations and short exercises that have a big impact. And if you're in the corporate world, there is something for you too. If you're interested on how intuition, authenticity, and self-awareness apply in leadership, you can join our private LinkedIn group, Unbox Authentic Life and Leadership. My stance is simple. You're the same person no matter what role you play. Right? I'll leave the links in the show notes. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Today, we're going to explore why you get triggered, what rejection really signals, and how you can move from being at the mercy of reactions to standing in clarity. But first, what are triggers really? Triggers are not random explosions. They are signals from your core that something is not sitting right with you. Your body rejects what feels unsafe, untrue, or unnecessary. Something deep within you is out of balance, or unintegrated, or unresolved, or it might even be that the situation has nothing to do with you at all. You could simply be running an automatic response to a story, an old story you've already outgrown. That rejection can look like anger, tears, shutting down, shuddering, or even over-explaining. But underneath it all is an invitation to stop and ask, which part of me is out of balance right now? Let's break this down through the 4 dimensions of change. The first dimension, the foundation, is your physical body. This is where trauma lives, as cellular memory. Think of how you stiffen, how your stomach churns before you even know why. I once had a client who panicked every time she heard footsteps behind her. It wasn't about the present, it was a memory her body still carried. The second dimension is emotions. Old grief, anger, or shame can surface even when the moment doesn't justify the intensity. Another client, for example, broke down when a friend cancelled plans. It wasn't about dinner, it was about unresolved loneliness from years before. And the third dimension is your mind. When the ego clings to beliefs out of insecurity, it resists change. For example, you may argue endlessly just to prove a point that you're right, because being wrong feels like you're losing your identity. But the world is always evolving, and ego wants certainty. Growth, however, requires flexibility. The fourth and final dimension is accountability to actions. Acting on autopilot, meaning responding the same way you always have. One gentleman I mentored realized that he snapped at his teenager son in exactly the same way his own father had snapped at him. It wasn't conscious, he didn't even notice it. It was a loop he hadn't questioned. Have you been there? Let's pause and release. This is a simple body check in that you can do anytime you need to. When you feel triggered, take a moment to pause. Take a few breaths. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take 3 slow, deep breaths. I don't know why, but 3 breaths really work for me. As you settle, gently scan your body from head to toe, as if you're going over an image of yourself, like looking at an x-ray, and just try and sense if there is any tension or discomfort. If it helps you, you can imagine looking at the image as if you're looking at a mirror or a picture or a painting. Bring your awareness to that spot that attracted your attention and ask yourself, which part of me is sending a signal to be heard? Is it my body, my emotions, my mind, or my actions? Whichever dimension it is in, place your hand over that area of your body that is calling for attention. Breathe into it for a few seconds, and as you exhale, imagine the tension flowing down out of your body and into the center of the earth. Then I'd like you to ask yourself, is this mine to act on? Or is it the time to let it go? Allow the answer to surface without forcing it. Finally, smile inwardly and invite positive feelings, positive energy, or even self-love to fill the space that has opened up where you released that trigger energy. This simple check-in, like a scan, if you do it daily, it can become a regular practice, a way to pause and reflect and allow you to recalibrate so that you won't be triggered in the same way again. Sometimes the situation that triggers you isn't even about you. It's simply life showing you where to step back, where and when to step back, actually. Say you gave advice to someone and they've ignored it. That doesn't mean you're not valued. It just means that you better spend your energy somewhere else. A client said to me once, I feel invisible because nobody listens. What she discovered was that she was offering help where it wasn't wanted. Once she directed that energy, she found gratitude and value elsewhere. Boundaries are a way of marking your own self worth. You may mean well, but whatever you're offering isn't needed at that moment. So pivot and redirect your energies. If you notice you're always caught up in the same triggers, maybe it's time to take a deeper look. In my discovery sessions, we map out your triggers through the BEMA Unbox Methodology, and that helps you to uncover what is really driving them. You will find details on my website, saharhuneidi.com, and click on Services. Back to self-awareness. I hope that you can now see that self-awareness is not a straight line. It's really more like a spiral. Triggers are an invitation to revisit the same themes: anger, rejection, insecurity, but always in a different level from a different perspective. You're not going backwards, you're not stuck, you are always changing and evolving. Think of it as climbing a spiral staircase. You pass the same view, but from a different point of view, from a different height or level or perspective. You may think it's a similar situation, but it's always from a different point of view to help you make a mental shift. What's the point of all of this? It's really to find a point within you where you are no longer triggered. Let's call it neutrality. When you're triggered, the goal is not to suppress your emotions, but to reach a point where you feel neutral because of your self-awareness. Neutrality isn't cold or detached. It's a product of clarity. When you're neutral, you can see what's yours and what baggage isn't or never was. You respond instead of you react. You disengage from battles that you were never meant to fight. So stay in your lane and use that energy to keep reaching your own goals and expressing your own values. Before we go, I want to remind you that being triggered is a healthy sign. It doesn't mean you're failing. It means your core is calling for your attention to polish up, to release, to pay attention to whatever you have not fine-tuned yet. Every reaction is a chance to do exactly that, to recalibrate, realign, and reclaim your power. Thank you for listening to episode 41 of Unbox the Podcast in its 20th year. If this episode resonated, please remember to subscribe and follow from your favorite platform. This way, you help me to keep going and you'll never miss an episode. Until next Tuesday, you can rewrite your story and reclaim your power.